Mario Cristobal, after this game, went into the recruiting chamber here and got his chance at finally being able to beat Florida and FSU here. And
they got USF and FAMU.
Oh, there we go.
I mean, that's the real state champs.
They're the true state champs here. Mario Cristobal says all recruits in state, out of state can now clearly see that the trajectory of this program versus the trajectory of other programs. Obviously, throwing some shade and some shots, subtweeting over to FSU and all the other schools across the state after getting that first win against Mike Norvell and FSU. He's an interesting one. Mario Cristobal is very interesting.
I don't like him.
And you can easily kind of read him in press conferences. Like, we spent a little bit of time before the game on Saturday. We pulled him up in the Airbnb, just watching some stuff on how he was prepping for this game against FSU. And he's very easy to read. And, he's got to take his chances right here as much as he can, because a lot of this team for Miami is going to be gone after this season, including Cam Ward, who's keeping them going here and putting up points. But, Mario Cristobal taking some shots there. Do you think it's going to work on the recruiting trail potentially?
I mean, maybe, because they're going to have to pay a lot of money to get those guys down there to Coral Gables or Miami Gardens or wherever it is. But it's an interesting comment. Miami did win this game, but it's the first victory that Mario Cristobal has recorded over FSU. And, it probably wasn't exactly the dominant outing that Cristobal and the Hurricanes expected going into Saturday night. Probably one of the best Miami teams that we've seen in the last 2 decades, going up against arguably the worst Florida State team in program history, and at least in the last 50 years, and still only able to come out of it with a 22-point victory. And some of that was garbage time. Miami scored that early touchdown in the fourth quarter, decided to go for 2, and then obviously got the ball back a little bit, a couple minutes after that, and then were able to get that long run that turned into a touchdown. So I don't know. I don't know if it necessarily, quote unquote, flips the state like he thinks, and that it changes the trajectory of how these programs are viewed. But Florida State, after losing this one, it's not pretty. I mean, this is not a rivalry game that you want to lose, and to lose this badly, obviously. And, it's not something the fan base, the boosters, anyone is going to be happy about with the result. And, we'll see if Mike Norvell and his staff are able to make the changes necessary this offseason to flip that back in the right direction.
Yeah, I don't know if trajectory is the word I'd use. No one's arguing that Miami's the best team in the state this year. It's undebatable. They've beaten everybody they've played. But trajectory is so ambiguous. I mean, if you just look 4 months ago, everyone's thinking Florida State's clearly on the best trajectory in the state, and then you see the results on the field. So it really just depends how Miami will come out next season without Cam Ward and some of these other guys like Cristobal out there. If they kind of fall back down to earth a little bit next year to 7-5, I don't think anyone's going to be surprised. And I also don't think anyone's going to be surprised if they completely flame out in the ACC championship or the playoffs, because, they're 8-0 right now, but it's not a very good 8-0.
No, that's what I was talking with the guys about after the game. Like, it's pretty clear that this Miami team isn't that phenomenal. I think they're going to have a wake-up call if they get up there to Charlotte, and definitely once they get in that playoff berth. But still, nonetheless, you go and you beat Florida State, but you beat a really, really, really historically bad football team.
Really, the easiest way of looking at it that way is just look 2 years ago. A Florida State team that was good, not great, playing a Miami team that was below average, and Florida State smoked them 45-3. That Miami team was a lot better than the Florida State team that we're seeing, and they got absolutely smoked. So it's not exactly confidence building if you're a Miami fan.